Unit 2 will take a look at human development, and this is going to be chapters 10, 11, and 12 in the textbook. So chapter 10 is going to take a look at infancy and childhood, and this video will cover sections 1, 2, and 3. Section 1, what is developmental psychology? Developmental psychology is the study of how people grow and change throughout their lives. Developmental psychologists examine three aspects of development: the physical, the social, and the cognitive. Developmental psychologists are concerned with many issues. One issue is the extent to which heredity or nature and environment nurture affect development. Another is whether people develop in distinct stages or whether development is more gradual and steady. Developmental psychologists are concerned with two general issues: ways in which heredity and environmental influences contribute to human development, and whether development occurs gradually or in stages. Psychologists have long debated the extent to which human behavior is determined by heredity, nature, or environment, nurture. Maturation is the automatic and sequential process of development that results from genetic signals. A critical period is a stage or point in development during which a person is best suited to learn a particular skill or behavior pattern. Arnold Gesell proposed that maturation played the most important role in development. John Watson's view, however, favored the tabula rasa view of development, and tabula rasa is that you start with a clean slate. Does development occur in stages or as a continuous process? Developmental psychologists debate whether human development occurs primarily in stages or as a continuous process. Maturational theorists generally believe that most development occurs in stages. Jean Piaget is one of the most famous stage theorists. Other psychologists argue that cognitive development is a gradual and continuous process. Behaviorists such as John Watson believe that children pick up knowledge constantly through observation and learning. Each new bit of acquired knowledge builds upon what is learned before. Behaviorist theories stress the importance of the environment over that of hereditary in cognitive development. Section 2. What series of physical developments do humans go through? Children grow physically from the time they are conceived through infancy and childhood. Reflexes, motor development, and perceptual development are all important aspects of physical development. Physical growth. Changes in reflexes, gains in height and weight, motor development, and perceptual development are examples of physical development. The most dramatic gains in height and weight occur before an infant's birth. During infancy, the period from birth to the age of 2 years, dramatic gains continue in height and weight. During childhood, the period from 2 years to adolescence, children gain an average of 2 to 3 inches and 4 to 6 pounds each year until they reach the start of adolescence. A reflex is an involuntary reaction or response, such as swallowing. Reflexes are inborn, not learned, and they occur automatically. Reflexes include grasping, rooting, sucking, swallowing, the Moro reflex, and the Babinski reflex. As children develop, many reflexes, such as rooting and sucking, disappear. Some reflexes remain and others come under voluntary control. The development of purposeful movement is called motor development. Gross motor development refers to baby's progress in coordinating major muscle groups. Fine motor development refers to coordination of the hands, face, and other small muscles. The point at which various types of motor development occur is different from infant to infant and even from culture to culture. Perceptual development. Infants tend to prefer new and interesting stimuli. Infants' perceptual preferences are influenced by their age, and their depth perception seems to be influenced by experience. Section 3. What influences social development? Through the process of social development, infants and children learn to relate to other people. Attachment bonds infants and children to those close to them, and the quality of this attachment affects how they develop. Parenting styles cover a wide range, but some styles are more likely to produce well-adjusted children who place a high value on themselves. The value one places on oneself is called self-esteem. Attachment, emotional ties that form between people. From 0 to 4 months, infants prefer being held or just being with someone. From 4 months, infants develop strong attachments to their main caregivers, usually their mothers. And at 8 months, some infants develop stranger anxiety and separation anxiety. Based on studies with monkeys, researchers have concluded that attachment grows more from contact comfort than from feeding. And that is Harlow's famous experiment with the monkeys. Bonds of attachment between mothers and infants appear to provide a secure base from which infants can explore their environments. For attachment, you have imprinting, that is an animal instinct. For many animals, it's instinctual. Some animals become attached to the first moving object they see, but children do not imprint. It takes months before they attach to main caregivers. And you may have heard that if you see a baby bird, you're not supposed to pick it up because then will think that you're its mother, and its own bird mother will never care for it again because it can smell you on the baby. That is not true. It is a myth, just so you know. When we look at attachment, there is secure versus insecure. When mothers or other primary caregivers are affectionate and reliable, infants usually become securely attached. When caregivers are unresponsive or unreliable, infants are usually insecurely attached. Secure infants may mature into secure children. Autism. It's a developmental disorder that prevents children from forming proper attachments with others. Can be expressed in a wide variety of symptoms, from very severe to very subtle. Can go undiagnosed for years and is often recognized during infancy and early childhood. Styles of parenting. There are warm and cold, and strict or permissive. Warm parents show a great deal of affection to their children. Cold parents may not be as affectionate toward their children or appear to enjoy them as much. Research suggests that children fare better when their parents are warm to them. Children of warm parents are more likely to be well-adjusted, and this is pretty much common sense. For strict or permissive. Some parents are strict with their children, imposing many rules and supervising their children closely. Some parents are permissive with their children, imposing fewer rules and watching their children less closely. Authoritative parents combine warmth with age-appropriate rules and responsibilities. Authoritarian parents believe in obedience for its own sake. Child abuse and neglect. It's relatively widespread and seriously underreported. The following factors are associated with child abuse and neglect: stress, especially from unemployment or poverty, a history of physical or sexual abuse in at least one parent's family, acceptance of violence as a way of coping with stress, lack of attachment to the child, substance abuse, or rigid attitudes about child rearing. Studies show that children who are abused run a higher risk of developing psychological problems, and child abuse tends to run in families. For childcare, most American parents work outside the home, and more than half of mothers of children younger than 1 year of age are working mothers. Millions of preschoolers are cared for in daycare facilities. Studies of the effects of daycare on parent-child attachments have shown mixed results. Daycare seems to have mixed effects on other aspects of children's social development. The quality of care seems to be more important than who provides it. Self-esteem. The value or worth that people attach to themselves begins to develop in early childhood. Influences are secure attachment plays a major role in influencing self-esteem. Another influence is how parents react to their children. Children who receive unconditional positive regard usually develop high self-esteem. Children who receive conditional positive regard may have lower self-esteem. Girls tend to display greater competence in reading and general academic skills, and boys tend to display competence in math and physical skills. This may be because this is what girls and boys are supposed to be good at. and it's not for a genetic reason. Although children gain in competence as they grow older, their self-esteem tends to decline during the elementary school years, and it seems to reach a low point at about age 12 and 13 and increases again during adolescence. By the 1970s, greater self-esteem was thought of by many as a potential cure-all for society's problems. Showering children with praise regardless of their performance was the common practice. Findings in 2000 showed that high self-esteem in children did not lead to higher grades, and that high self-esteem did not make violent kids any less so or keep kids from becoming bullies. Focusing on building self-esteem at the expense of other qualities, such as self-control or self-discipline, may be misguided. And that is it for sections 1, 2, and 3. The next video will focus on cognitive development and Piaget.